today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Massdrop Objective 2 headphone amplifier. So here's what the front of the box looks like. That's the back. And if you're wondering what the inside of the box would look like, it would be like this. Now let's talk about the adapter for 2 seconds. So the cable that it comes with to plug into the power, like your power outlet's a little long, maybe about 6 feet, maybe a little longer. And it's 15 AC, 500 milliamps, 7.5 watts for the output, as you see. And then here's the unit. And the first thing I want to talk about is I got the original design. So that means you have to plug it in the front, like so. I also, if you're wondering how you connect the source, so how do you play audio from it, also the connection's also on the front, and you plug it into the line in right here, and that's a 3.5 headphone jack, and then this can go into your headphone jack on your computer. And this does not come with it. This came with my monitor, this cable here, but I just wanted to show you that. And then your headphones will plug into this jack here. Now, if you haven't noticed, you got 4 feet on the bottom, and there's nothing on the back because I got the original design. They do come with a version where you plug in the power on the back, and it has red and white RCAs, and so you don't have to use this line in on the front. And as you notice, there's no venting anywhere, so it's fully enclosed. So that means you can't get any dust in it, so that's good. And the other good thing about that is, since it's fully enclosed, they did that because it doesn't really get hot. It maybe barely gets hot, but not that much. The other amps, they get a little hot. So let's talk about the buttons now. So this is how you power it on. You press this button in, and then this light here will turn red, and it's very dull, so it's not intruding or anything. And to turn it off, you just press this button. Now, one of the things I noticed is if I have a headphone plugged in here with a right angle, it's kind of hard to press this button with the right angle there. So that's one thing I don't like. Now this button is your high and low gain switch. So you press that in, and then you should be on high gain. And then you press it again, and it should stick out now. And now you're on low gain. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and talk about one more thing here. Now when you every time you have to plug your headphones in, I do not like this jack, because I'll show you why. It gets, you start, and then it stops, and then you got to push really hard just to plug it in, and it's not a very smooth feeling. So watch. Boom. So you really have to put a lot of pressure just to plug this in. Let me show you that again. See, I really don't like this connection. It's not a very smooth plug-in. So plugging your headphones in, it doesn't feel good. Now the next thing is, you notice this is the volume knob, and there's a nice little white dot for your indicator. So that's very good. But I do not like this volume knob, because it's kind of hard. It is smooth, but it's kind of hard to turn. This volume knob. It's not as smooth as the Shit amp or the Una amp, and I just recently got a FIO Q1 Mark II amp, which there was a sale on eBay, but the last one sold, but then I had another coupon, so I did eventually decide to buy it. So now the next thing I want to talk to you about is how well it can power some headphones. If you have HD6XXs on like low gain, you probably actually on low gain, on low gain you need about that much. On high gain it would be a little less, like that, for the HE4XXs and the Sennheiser HD6XXs. Now for like the monoprice M1060s, on like low gain, you only need about 9 o'clock. And if it goes all the way over here, by the way, if you were wondering. So you do not need a whole lot. And that's the problem I don't like about this amp either, is let's say I'm on the M1060s. Right here it'd be loud, right? And if I just go just a little bit, like that much, now it's too loud. So I really don't like this amp because it's a little too sensitive. It's a little too powerful, I would say. The other thing I want to talk about would probably be the audio quality, because I think I pretty much covered everything so far. Now bass-wise, it's about the same as the other amps. I would say it's a little bit better though. That's the only thing I really like about this amp. I think the bass is probably the best on this, but it's not a whole lot better. It's only a tiny bit better. So like compared to the Shit Magni 2, it's a little boomy and a little stronger. But I think the Shit Magni 2 is a little more controlled. So it's a little less controlled though. So it might be a little stronger, a little more boomy, but it's a little less controlled than the Shit Magni 2. Now, I would say the Un, maybe a little more similar to this if you get the volume up loud enough in sound. But I would say it's maybe a little weaker than this. The Theo, it's probably a little more controlled like the Shit Magni 2. And now on the Theo, I just got that today. If you put the bass boost on the Theo, it has a lot more bass than this. So if you want bass, you better probably check out something that has a bass boost on it. And that has a very good bass boost. I put it on and it doesn't make anything sound, it does make it sound a little darker, but it doesn't make anything sound muddy. So it's a very good bass boost on that. So if you want bass, if you put the bass boost on the Theo Q1 Mark II, it's going to have a lot more bass than this. But if you leave it stock, it's only just a teeny weeny less boomy and just a little less strong than this. But it's about the same, it's about just as good though in bass. So let's go, so we're done talking about the low end. Now for mids, the vocals are kind of fine on this, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. But I would say they're all pretty much okay, besides the Un, which I'll talk about that in its own review for the vocals, because there's a major problem on the Un for the vocals and other sound effects, but we'll talk about that later. Now for the highs are probably another good thing about this amp. It's like certain type of sound effects will sound very neutral on this. It has good detail, but that's the problem. Now the reason why I'm doing this review first is because this is probably my least favorite out of all four of those amps. And why would that be? Well, the main reason is this one sounds kind of muffled compared to those other ones. And what exactly do I mean? Is, let's say if I'm comparing this to the Shit Magni 2, because I did most of my testing against the Shit Magni 2. I've done a little testing on the Un and I just got the Theo. But against the Shit Magni 2, I would say it beats this. And because this sounds a bit muffled, and with the Shit Magni 2, it has a little more soundstage. So let's say if you hear waves in the background, like the ocean. On this, it's going to sound muffled. You're not going to hear it as clearly in the background. Also, on the Shit Magni 2, let's say you can hear that waves in the background, but there's things going from right to left. And then, you have different instruments on the left and different instruments on the right. This is going to have a little less separation than the Shit Magni 2. So, and that's another reason why it sounds a little muffled. And then, also there's this one song where there's birds chirping from right to left, and there's ones way far back. And the Shit Magni 2 will have, on the ones that are way far back, it's going to have more echo. This, not as much echo on those bird chirps. So it just has a more muffled sound to it. And that's also another reason, the detail, especially on those things that are happening far away, there's less detail there. Now the things that are closer up, it's like if there's like a piano or something, or like maybe like a flute, I don't know, something that sounds bright, it will have some good detail, but I like how the Shit Magni 2 sounds. I think it sounds better than this. Now, pretty much that's about most of the audio stuff I wanted to talk about. So, is there anything else I probably want to mention? Oh yeah, high gain. When you put it on high gain, it will make the vocals sound a little more recessed. I don't really like putting things on high gain. It just makes it sound a little weird. It kind of brings certain things forward, and then it kind of puts certain things back. It makes it sound a little weird. So I don't really recommend, you also don't really need to use high gain because this thing's powerful enough. I'd probably just leave it in low gain. And that's about all I really want to talk about this. So thank you for watching.